Culturally, religiously, and legally, man is recognized as the head of the family institution. Consequently, the authority to lead a family is divinely and humanly bestowed on man by the cultural, religious, and legal institutions, which are also the institutions that validate marriage. The family, at the nuclear level, consists of a man, the wife, and the children. A man has legitimate authority over his wife and children as the head of the family institution. However, every authority is incomplete without responsibilities. This is the reason man's authority in the family as its head is accompanied by numerous duties, obligations, and responsibilities towards the wife and the children. It is very instructive to note that the authority a man has over his wife and children and the responsibilities and obligations he owes them are correlatives. This means that, all things being equal, a man has the right to exercise his authority in the family as the head when he satisfactorily performs his responsibilities towards his spouse and children. By this token, a man risks his position as the head of the family, as well as the rights and authority that accompany the position, if he is incapacitated from performing his obligations to his family. As a matter of fact, the ability of a man to perform his family responsibilities confers on him the authorities he enjoys and commands in the family. One of the most pronounced family obligations of a man is providing for his wife and children. This is the reason man is naturally the breadwinner of the family. But what happens in the family when a man lacks the capacity to provide for his wife and children? What becomes the fate or position of a man in the family when he lacks the strength and ability to provide for his family? The answer to this question is very important because it helps to ensure the stability of the family institution when a man has financial crisis. Before you continue watching this video, you should click the subscription link below if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel. Before responding to the above questions, it is very important to ascertain when the problem started. In other words, at what point did the man become unable to perform his financial obligations to his family? The response to this question will help to properly manage the challenge at hand. One of the disappointing observations I have made about some ladies is that when they are desperate of getting married, almost any man, even a man who has no job, becomes qualified to be the husband. In addition, when some ladies are very desperate of getting married, they believe that they can endure every challenge from any man, even the challenge of having no job. This is the reason some ladies happily and gladly accept marriage proposals from men who have no jobs, even against the counsel of their dear ones. Sometimes, some ladies propose marriage to such men. Why did I raise this subject? If a woman believed that she can cope with a spouse who has no job because she was desperate of getting married, she should not complain much when the man's challenge lingers, because a man who cannot provide for himself is unqualified to start a family life by acquiring a wife. Perhaps this was the reason the Bible remarks that a man who cannot provide for his family has defiled the faith and is worse than an infidel. However, if a man was working before he gets married, but loses his financial freedom after his marriage, it becomes a different case. It is very instructive to note that this is one of the uncertainties of life, and anyone could be a victim of it. Indeed, it is a very big challenge when a man's source of income is accidentally crippled and he lacks the capacity to shoulder the burden of financial obligations in his family. The situation becomes worse if he lacks a backup from a reliable source, especially the wife. Any man who can be financially assisted by his wife in such situation is very fortunate indeed. But the fact that a woman becomes the breadwinner of the family while the husband is still alive but broke does not imply that she becomes the head of the family. Despite being the breadwinner of the family, a woman is still expected to be respectful and submissive to the husband who is broke. It is usually very difficult for a man to enjoy the respect or submission of the wife when he cannot provide for his family. There is a philosophy in men's world that a man does not know who his wife truly is until she becomes the breadwinner of the family. True to this claim, some women who were very humble, respectful, and submissive to their husbands while they were being provided for by the men became dictators over their husbands when they became the breadwinners of the families. It takes excessive humility, meekness, and godliness for a woman to be respectful and submissive to the husband as the breadwinner of the family. As a matter of fact, any woman who remains respectful and submissive to the husband under such condition is a wife indeed. However, it is worthy of note that the way a woman treats her husband when he is poor or broke, whether positive or negative, is an investment for her marriage, her life, and her future, which will be ripe for harvest in due time, especially if the husband is someone who has conscience and remembers the past. This is the reason every woman should be very cautious and careful with how she treats her husband when the man is undergoing financial crisis. But it is also very important to note that change remains the only permanent thing in life. This is the reason no condition is permanent, and this includes financial challenges. The man who is having financial crisis today can ascend to a better financial status, even suddenly, and also at a time the wife loses her financial freedom. However, when a man has such challenge, he should be humble enough to perform some domestic tasks which he may not be performing before, since it is likely that he will have more spare time than the wife who is busy with productive activities. It is very important to note that it is natural for a man to be unhappy and easily upset when he is poor or broke. However, he should not direct his anger to his wife, his children, or other people around him as if they are the cause of his challenge. Rather, he should strive to have cordial relationship with his spouse, children, and the people around him. If the financial challenge resulted from inadequate income, he should strive to increase his income through every reasonable means. It is very important to note that the tendency to endure and persevere in the midst of a challenge is usually high when there is expectation or hope after some time. A woman can endure the burden and challenges of being the breadwinner of the family if the husband is making reasonable efforts to overcome his financial crisis within a reasonable time. Consequently, a woman who remains humble, respectful, and submissive to the husband as the breadwinner of the family may give up with time if the husband fails to make reasonable efforts to overcome his financial challenges within a reasonable time. This being the case, Even if a woman becomes the breadwinner of the family because the husband has a financial challenge, the man should not relax or give up, especially if he is still physically and mentally healthy. Rather, he should struggle very hard to get his feet back to the ground as soon as possible. Women are helpmeets. They should not be the breadwinners of families under normal circumstances, though there is nothing wrong with that, especially when it is inevitable. It is traditionally expected that women should supplement the efforts of their husbands to provide for the family. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, you should click the subscription link below if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel. You should also turn on the notification bell so that you will be informed whenever a new video is published in this YouTube channel. I hope to meet you again in the next video. Thanks for watching.